All right, we should be on page, I forgot already, let's see. We're on page 59 in our notebook. So you're skipping page 58, which is the left-hand side, and you're on page 59. So over the last couple weeks, we've been working with trig, sine, cosine, and tangent to solve side lengths of right triangles. There are two special cases for right triangles that we can use. We don't have to use trig for. We can use kind of like a trick. So I'm going to show that to you now. So today is the 6th. Yeah, so 12, 6, 18. And we have special right triangles. And we're specifically going to look at 45, 45, 90-degree triangles today. Tomorrow we'll look at 30, 60, 90. Okay, so if it's a 45, 45, 90-degree triangle, first of all, we know it's a right triangle. Okay, so in order to use trig, in order to use special right triangles, we have to have a right triangle. So that's my 90-degree angle. These two angles then are 45 degrees, and we know that that will work out because if we add up all three angles in the triangle, we get 180. Okay, so again, we're basically going to be using a trick to help us solve instead of having to use sine, cosine, tangent. Will sine, cosine, tangent work? Yes, but you do need to know this way as well. So the sides across from the 45-degree angles, we are going to label with an S. S is in Sam. Okay, so an S and an S. Because both angles are 45 degrees, the sides across from them will be the same length. Okay? And then across from the 90-degree angle, we are going to label it with S radical 2. S square root of 2. So S, S, and S square root of 2. So here's going to be our steps to solve these problems. Step 1 is going to be to label the sides. And when I say label the sides, you're going to label it with S, S, and S radical 2. Step 2 is going to be to solve for S. In some cases, S may already be solved for, and you'll be good to go. And then the third step is to plug in S anywhere you still see it. Okay, so label the sides, solve for S, and then plug in S. And when we do an example, I think it'll make more sense. All right. So let's draw another right triangle. So we obviously need to solve for X and Y. We need to solve for X and Y. So again, step 1 is to label my sides. So across from each of the 45-degree angles is an S. So if I go across from 45, I'm going to do S, and you'll notice I'm putting an equal sign because that side length equals S. Across from this 45-degree angle, and even though it's not labeled, we know it's 45, is going to be another S. And then across from 90 is S square root of 2. Okay, so S, S, S square root of 2. So we labeled all of our sides. Our second step is to solve for S. So we either need to solve one of these equations, or we notice that S is already solved for. I know a value for S. S is 3. So I'm going to circle that because that's going to be information that helps me. I know S is 3. Okay. Step 3 is to plug s in. So if s is 3, then y equals 3, because y equals s, and we know s is 3. If we plug s in for x, we get 3 square root of 2. So instead of doing trig functions, you can use this trick, I guess, trick formula, whatever you want to call it, to help you solve for a side length. Okay, so step 1 is to label your sides. Step 2 is to solve for s, and in some cases we'll have to solve, and I'll show you that example next. And then step 3 is where we actually plug it in. So let's look at another one. Okay, so I have x, y, and 9 square root of 2. So that's what my triangle is. All right, so we're going to start by labeling our sides. Oops, I should probably include that. There we go. So across from 45 is S. Across from 45 is S. And across from 90 is S radical 2. Step 2 is to solve for S. So while these equal s, I don't have a value, so I need to use this one. Here's an equation that I have. So I'm going to take it and actually write it over here real quick. So 9 radical 2 equals s radical 2. I need s by itself. So to get s by itself, I'm going to divide by radical 2. Okay, those radical 2's cancel, leaving me with s equals 9. Now that I know what s is, I can plug it back in to my x and y equation. So if x equals s, then x equals 9 and y equals 9. Last one we're going to look at . Okay. So I would like you to take a quick second and label all of your sides. So S, S, and S radical 2. Okay, so you should have labeled your sides S, S, and S radical 2. So across from 45 is S, across from 45 is S, and across from 90 is S radical 2. That's step 1. Step 2 is to solve for S. So if I look at all my sides, S equals Y, okay, that doesn't help me. S isn't by itself, and I can't really solve because I have a variable. Here, S is 2 radical 2. S already equals that, so I don't have to solve anything. I'm going to take S, and I'm going to plug it back in. So if I plug it in for Y, S equals Y, which means Y equals 2 radical 2. I'm just plugging it in. Now when I plug it in for X, okay, so X equals S, which is 2 radical 2, And then I still have this radical 2 I have to multiply by. Now, if we remember when we multiplied back at the beginning of the semester, the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is the same as the square root of 4. And the square root of 4 is just 2. So this piece here is 2. But I have this 2 that needs to go on the outside as well. So x equals 4. So what I would like you to do is try to do the best you can with your homework. Attempt to do as much as you can. Label your sides. See if you can solve. Some might be easier than others. And then we will go over it in class tomorrow.